Okay, so imagine this challenge. You've got this incredibly powerful, fast-moving tech AI, right?
Yeah, artificial intelligence, it's everywhere.
Everywhere. But now, try plugging that into the pharmaceutical industry, an area defined by super strict rules, obsessive documentation, absolutely zero room for error.
Right. Move fast and break things just doesn't fly there. It's completely impossible, really.
Exactly. So the big question is, can AI actually handle that level of complexity, that compliance burden, like today? Or are we still talking about something way off in the future?
Hmm. It's a critical question.
And that's what we're digging into in this deep dive. We're looking at some source material here that makes a pretty specific claim from one company, Salesforce. They're saying their AI isn't just getting ready for life sciences.
They're saying it's already being used at scale.
Right. Already in use. So our mission really is to cut through the usual AI hype, look only at what the source material presents, and figure out what pharma-ready actually means in this specific context.
Yeah, we'll be exploring the information they put out about Salesforce AI, specifically how it's applied in pharma according to them. We want to lay out the features, the use cases, the claims from the source. It's nice and clear for you.
Exactly. It's easy to toss around buzzwords like AI ready. This deep dive is about looking at the concrete stuff, the capabilities, and the deployment evidence described in the source, and translating some of the maybe complex tech or regulatory bits into something, well, understandable.
Getting to the core of their claim of pharma-ready AI, straight from their information.
Okay, so let's unpack that phrase, farmer ready. The source material seems really clear that, just having AI algorithms isn't nearly enough. Lots of platforms can crunch data.
Sure, basic AI is becoming common.
But the source insists farmer ready is a much, much higher bar. It implies a design built from the ground up for these unique, really stringent industry needs. So based on the source, what are the key things that make an AI platform truly ready for pharma?
Well, the source really focuses on three main pillars. And the first one is absolutely foundational, built-in compliance.
Built in, so not something bolted on later.
Exactly. The source presents it as part of the platform's core design, not an afterthought.
Okay, and compliance in pharma. I mean, that covers a lot of ground. What specific areas does the source say this platform handles, like, natively?
It points to a few critical ones. First, supporting high-pay compliance, obviously essential for any patient data.
Right, paramount.
Then, alignment with GxP guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
The good practice standards, GMP for manufacturing, GCP for clinical trials, GLP for labs, all of that.
The whole suite.
Yeah. And the source mentions specific tools like Salesforce Shield and built-in audit trails, helping make that GxP alignment feasible. And then, really importantly, it talks about supporting MLR-aware workflows.
MLR, medical legal regulatory review. That's the big one for communications, isn't it?
It's the gatekeepers, yeah. Marketing stuff, medical info responses, pretty much everything external has to pass MLR. So these workflows, according to the source, manage the content review, the versioning, logging approvals.
So the platform isn't just like suggesting text. It's actually managing the process around using that text to make sure it stays compliant.
That's precisely the idea presented. And the source really emphasizes this isn't something you have to custom code or integrate separately. It states these compliance features are native. And crucially, they're available through low-code configuration.
Low code, meaning?
Meaning the business teams, the folks often closest to the actual regulatory rules, can set up and manage these compliance settings within the platform themselves. They don't necessarily need a big team of developers. The source positions that low-code aspect as a big deal for getting compliance up and running faster.
Okay, that makes sense. Avoids a major development bottleneck. So built-in compliance is pillar one. What's the second pillar the source talks about?
The second one is support for both commercial and medical workflows. Pharma companies have these really distinct sides, right? Selling products versus providing objective medical science.
Very different roles, different rules. In AI, for a sales rep, talking to a doctor needs different guardrails than one for an MSL discussing complex data with a key opinion leader.
Exactly right. And the source details AI features tailored for those different roles. For the commercial reps, it might be AI helping prep for a call or suggesting the next best action with a specific doctor. For MSL's medical science liaisons, maybe the AI helps scan through mountains of scientific papers or helps triage incoming medical questions.
And market access teams, too, dealing with payers and formularies.
Them too. The source mentions AI helping detect shifts in insurance coverage or segmenting patient groups based on access factors. And the key thing the source notes is that these use cases come with pre-built components, compliance guardrails specific to that function.
Like making sure medical info stays strictly non-promotional.
Precisely. And also explainability features. So people can actually see why the AI is suggesting something. It's not just a black box.
Got it. So it's not generic AI. It supposedly understands the specific jobs and the regulatory lines within pharma. That's pillar 2. And the third, I'm guessing data plays a big role.
Always does. And pharma data. It's notoriously siloed. CRM data here, marketing data there, clinical systems, prescribing data. It's all over the place.
Yeah, getting a single view is tough.
So the third pillar the source describes tackles this directly.
Yeah.
Unified data without duplication.
Okay, without duplication. How does the source say that works? That sounds tricky.
It points to their data cloud technology and specifically highlights something they call a zero-copy architecture.
Zero copy.
The concept, as the source presents it, is about integrating data from all those different places, CRM, marketing tools, field apps, analytics, but without physically copying all that data into one massive new database.
Okay, so instead of copying everything in, it's more like the platform can access and use the data where it already lives.
That seems to be the implication in the source. It sort of integrates and harmonizes it virtually. It creates synchronized master records across those different systems. The benefits listed are pretty significant. Things like enabling real-time personalization, doing really precise segmentation because you have the full picture, and crucially, having a single, reliable source of truth for data. That's huge for compliance and just making good decisions.
Okay, let me see if I've got this. The source's definition of pharma-ready boils down to 1, compliance built in natively, configurable with low-code tools. 2, it supports the distinct needs of both commercial and medical teams with tailored, compliant features. And 3, it unifies all that scattered data without duplicating it, creating a single view. It's the combination of those 3 that the source is pointing to.
That's a great summary of the foundation the source lays out for that pharma-ready claim.
Hmm.
And building on that definition, the source material doesn't just stop at how it's supposedly ready. It makes the claim that this AI is actually already out there, being deployed and used in the industry.
Right, that's the big leap, isn't it? From it can do it to it is doing it. What kind of proof does the source offer for that actual deployment?
Well, one specific number they give is over 240 data cloud implementations just within life sciences and healthcare.
240. Okay, that's not just a few test cases.
Seems to suggest wider adoption, yeah. And the source states these implementations are actively helping teams bring together all sorts of critical data like HCP profiles, payer access info, prescription trends, notes from field interactions, everything. That number implies, a significant scale.
And the source also stresses that the AI isn't some standalone tool you have to log into separately, right? It's embedded.
Exactly. Embedded right into the Salesforce CRM ecosystem that a lot of these companies are, frankly, already using. The source mentions it popping up across the main clouds.
Like where specifically?
In Sales Cloud, for instance, the source says AI helps with things like writing up call summaries after meetings or giving reps intelligent alerts. In Service Cloud, it could be helping medical affairs or support teams, triage inquiries, maybe running compliant chatbots or automating some follow-up tasks.
Okay.
And then in Marketing Cloud, it's used for creating really specific audience segments in real time for campaigns or figuring out the best way to reach an HCP or patient again within the compliance rules.
So the idea is people find these AI features within the tools they already use day to day, not some new system to learn.
That seems to be the integration approach described.
And the source gives some pretty tangible examples of these embedded use cases actually happening now, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It tries to paint a picture of real operational use, like a medical affairs agent gets an inquiry. The AI, according to the source, reads it, automatically flags if it looks like a potential adverse event report.
Which is a huge compliance requirement.
Huge. And then it generates a draft response, but only pulling from a library of pre-approved compliant medical content.
Okay, built-in safety net.
Another example, a commercial ops person preparing for a doctor visit gets a dynamic pre-call plan. It's not static. The source says it's informed by the latest data from Data Cloud, maybe recent changes to insurance formularies, or what content that specific doctor has engaged with recently.
So it's tailored and up to the minute.
That's the claim. Or a market access team dashboard that automatically spots significant shifts in payer coverage for one of their drugs. And if a drug's tier changes on a formulary, it automatically sends an alert to the field team covering that specific region.
Those examples feel very grounded in actual pharma processes, not just generic AI tasks.
That's definitely the angle the source takes. It stresses these aren't just theories, but use cases being deployed across the industry today. And it also makes a point about speed, claiming companies can scale successful pilots from pilot to enterprise rollout in months.
Months. That sounds fast for pharma.
It does. That speed to scale for operational AI is a major part of the source's narrative about the platform's advantage. Suggests it's designed to get past some usual deployment roadblocks.
Interesting. Okay, so we've heard the source's definition of pharma ready and the examples of current use. But AI isn't static, right? It needs to keep getting better. How does the source describe this platform evolving, especially given all those regulations?
Right, continuous improvement is key. The source points to two core components driving that: Einstein Copilot and something called Agentforce.
Einstein Copilot. I think I've heard that name connected to Salesforce before. What's its job here in the pharma context, according to the source?
The source positions Einstein Copilot as the part that delivers explainable and compliant conversational help. It's accessible right there in the user interface, maybe through a chat window or a little widget. Think of it like an assistant you can ask questions, get insights from, or have it draft compliant content based on the rules and data.
Okay, like a direct assistant. And Agentforce sounds like maybe it does more.
Yeah, the source draws a distinction. It says Agentforce enables autonomous agents. These are described as being able to handle more complex multi-step tasks on their own.
Like what?
Things like generating really detailed call guidance for a rep, or even optimizing sales territories based on changing data. The source explains these agents tap into that real-time unified data in Data Cloud, apply business logic, and can then trigger workflows across different Salesforce cloud, sales, service, medical, etc. So they can orchestrate actions based on the data.
Wow, okay. So conversational help and automated actions, that sounds powerful. But how does a pharma company make sure these AI bits stick to their specific rules? Every company has slightly different approved language internal processes.
That's a crucial point. And the source highlights the low-code customization tools again here. It specifically mentions Prompt Builder and Flow.
Okay, what do they do?
Prompt Builder, according to the source, lets the business users fine-tune the instructions, the prompts given to the AI models, so they can ensure the AI uses the right approved words, the right tone, includes necessary disclaimers. And Flow is described as a visual tool for building and deploying AI functions without needing deep coding skills.
Right, the low-code aspect again.
And crucially, the source says Flow is used to build the guardrails around what the AI does, setting the boundaries, making sure it operates safely within the regulated environment.
So the platform provides the engine, but companies can use these tools to kind of steer it, making sure it stays on the compliant path for their specific needs.
That's the capability the source describes: customization without losing control. And this whole idea of adaptation is built into their process of quarterly platform releases.
Quarterly releases, so it gets updated regularly. What kind of updates, specifically for life sciences, does the source mention?
Yeah, every 3 months, according to the source. And these aren't just bug fixes. For life sciences customers, they apparently include expanded healthcare-specific features, new pre-built agent templates designed for specific pharma roles like field medical teams, plus ongoing improvements to Data Cloud's performance and its governance features.
So it's constantly evolving based on what the industry needs?
The source presents it as a continuous innovation cycle, driven by customer feedback and the specific demands of life sciences. It's not just a one-and-done ready platform, but one designed to get more refined and capable for pharma use every quarter.
That ongoing tailored improvement cycle sounds like a key part of the pharma-ready argument from the source's perspective.
Definitely. It underpins the idea of it being a continuously relevant tool for a fast-changing field. And all these pieces together, the compliance, the tailored workflows, the unified data, this ongoing evolution, they lead to a bigger point the source makes, which is that pharma seems to be moving past just dipping its toes in the AI water.
Right, moving beyond just like isolated experiments or proofs of concept.
Exactly. The source suggests the industry is now actively operationalizing AI, making it part of the day-to-day business.
That jump from POC to actual production use is always the hard part, especially in pharma with all the validation needed. How does the source claim this platform helps bridge that gap?
It describes enabling companies to start small, maybe with a focused pilot AI for rep guidance in one team, or triaging medical inquiries for one product line. Then, importantly, the platform helps them track the real impact.
Measure the results.
Yeah, measure concrete things. Did call prep time go down? Is MLR routing faster? Things like that. Once they see that positive documented impact, the source claims the platform makes it much easier to scale up. Take that successful pilot and roll it out across more teams, more regions, more drugs.
And that unified data aspect helps with scaling.
That's what the source credits. It specifically mentions Data Cloud's unified data spine, reducing the pain and cost of expanding, because you don't have to redo all the data integration work for each new rollout. The foundation is already there.
Makes sense. Build the data plumbing once, use it many times.
That ability to scale relatively easily from a validated pilot is framed as a major benefit. The source contrasts this with trying to use lots of separate niche AI tools or building everything custom from scratch, which it suggests often leads to getting stuck in pilot purgatory.
Pilot purgatory, I like that term. Stuck endlessly testing.
Yeah, and this leads to what the source calls the platform-level advantage.
Okay, what are the advantages of this platform approach, according to the source, compared to those other options?
It lists a few key things. First, native integrations. It mentions connections to other big enterprise tools common in pharma, like MuleSoft.
Which helps different systems talk to each other, right? Like connecting to an EHR or finance system.
Exactly, helps bridge those gaps. Also mentions Slack for collaboration around AI insights within compliance boundaries, and Tableau for visualizing the data in AI outputs. The point is that these connections are built in, supposedly simplifying the tech stack.
Less integration work, potentially.
Yeah.
What else?
Second, scalable governance tools. Things we've mentioned like Shield, audit trails, access controls designed for the needs of large regulated companies. And third, cross-cloud orchestration. This means workflows can run smoothly between different departments, medical affairs, commercial, support teams, ensuring everyone's working off the same compliant information and processes can flow across those traditional silos.
That cross-functional piece seems really important in pharma, where you need tight coordination between, say, medical and commercial, but also clear boundaries.
Absolutely vital. And yet the source uses that phrase, tired of pilot purgatory, suggesting this platform approach is about finally enabling true enterprise AI adoption, moving AI from a side project to a core operational capability.
So the argument from the source is basically that the whole platform design, built-in compliance, integrated data, orchestration tools, is geared towards helping pharma companies finally make AI a standard way of working, not just an experiment.
That shift from experiment to operational reality at scale is really the central narrative the source puts forward. So if we boil down the main points from the source material we've looked at, the core claim is that Salesforce AI is presented as already being pharma-ready, and that readiness, according to them, comes from this combination of built-in low-code compliance.
Right, the GXP, ICE by PA, MLR stuff.
It's designed supporting those very different commercial and medical workflows, and the evidence they provide of hundreds of deployments already unifying data and running actual use cases. The source really positions this as a current advantage, not something theoretical.
And importantly, the source emphasizes it's not finished. It keeps evolving with those quarterly releases, supposedly getting sharper, adding more life sciences-specific features, learning from how it's being used.
Making it potentially more useful over time for those specific pharma hurdles.
So thinking about this deep dive into this particular source, what does it mean for you listening? Maybe you work in a regulated field yourself and you're grappling with how to bring in new tech while staying compliant.
Or maybe you're just interested in how complex industries like pharma are starting to really use AI, not just talk about it. Or how these big enterprise platforms adapt themselves for very specific niche sectors.
Yeah. And it leaves us with a final thought to chew on, building directly on what the source described. If AI is becoming embedded across all these different regulated workflows in pharma, like the source suggests.
Powered by that unified data, constantly updating.
Right. What does that actually mean for the future of jobs and processes inside these companies? Could this kind of AI-driven orchestration fundamentally change how decisions get made, how information flows between, say, medical and commercial teams who traditionally operate very separately?
Or even redefine what human expertise looks like when it's augmented by this kind of AI day in, day out. It's a pretty profound shift the source seems to suggest is already kicking off. Something to think about.